are. Now I hear you.
Change computers.
Cindy, thank you so much for taking the time to do this with me for a great cause. I'm in awe of all that you've done for this movement and for Ron Paul, and that means that you're doing it for people like me and everybody else that's new to this movement. You're a great inspiration to everybody. So thank you again for being here.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. I don't know if you were able to hear me before, but I kind of gave you a lengthy introduction. I did a lot of research on you other than what I know about you on Facebook, and I'm just so impressed with you. I wanted to ask you, as far as your involvement with politics and whatnot, what struggles have you personally gone through to have your voice heard and to be at the point where you're at today?
Oh wow. Well, I'm not that long in the movement. I think, probably 5 years now. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay? About 5 years, and I guess when I first heard about Ron Paul and started to really get involved in the movement, what he wanted us to do was to get involved in the Republican Party and that structure. So, like the Republicans, I started to, go to meetings and stuff and was not very welcome as a newcomer. And to have my voice heard. I mean, I remember one of the first meetings I attended, one of our friends wanted to bring up getting marijuana legalized as part of the platform. And I mean, that just put a big, huge target on, on our heads. In addition to being Ron Paul supporters, now we want marijuana legalized. And who are these crazy people? We don't want them here. And so every meeting, and every meeting was, once a month or once every couple of weeks. And every meeting I attended, I was given good looks and really discouraged from participating. So that's a lot of it. And, still to this day, my ideas are pretty crazy, getting fluoride out of the water. That, I mean, I'm looked at as a crazy person for that. They don't want to hear about it yet. A lot of the things that we advocate, like your previous guest talking about healthy food and all, I mean, some people really think that's an odd topic. Why would I want to have healthy food available to me and my family when I can have, what they're offering at Walmart, for instance? So.
Yeah, I share your struggle in being labeled as a crazy person. Some of the things that people want us to bring into our platform are very taboo, especially to people who haven't really known true freedom. It's very simple to me. I get it, and for people like you who get it. But yeah, it pretty much sets the tone for us being labeled as an outcast and a kook, and it's just amazing to me that we have somebody like Ron Paul who's gone through it his entire political career, and I think that we owe it to him to finish out this this election process strongly for him, and thanks to people like you who are tireless, in this process, I think the payoff is going to be grand. So, but from what I understand, are you going to be at the convention in Tampa?
Yes, I will be.
You will be. Wonderful. Are you going to be at Paul Fest as well?
I'm hoping to be at Paul Fest as well. The only problem is I'm on the rules committee as well as being a delegate. So from what I understand, the rules committee meets on Thursday and then Friday, possibly Saturday. So if I have to be there on Saturday, hoping it's not all day, maybe I can get there half a day. But I'm really wanting to have the whole day Saturday for Paul Fest. Sunday is the rally, of course, too. So Saturday is a target day, and I'm really, really hoping that we don't have committees on Saturday. But if we do, that means that we're actually fighting for something. So you know, the committee stuff is really important stuff too. I mean, I'm going for important stuff as well as for fun.
Yeah, I understand what your position is, being on the rules committee and being a delegate also. What you have to do is far outweighing what, you know, we're going to be doing. We're going to be, you know, yeah, it's a pretty pivotal moment. It's going to be historical. You know, it's a chance for everybody to get together face to face and, you know, celebrate everything that our delegates have accomplished for us. Without them, we would not have gotten this far. There wouldn't be a Fall Fest. So again, I'm so sorry. Don't make me cry. I've already cried once. But your efforts are very, very much appreciated, Cindy. I love you for what you've done and what you continue to do, and I know what you will do for not only our future, but our children's futures. Christ, everybody's crying now. Stephen is telling me to let you know that your Paul Fest tickets will be free. So if you do get a chance, even if it's for a few hours, I would love to hug you and thank you in person. And I know everybody in this room that's going would love to be there right behind me doing the same thing.
Thank you so much. I'm hoping to get there too. I'm going to try my best to be there. But as I said, if we're working Saturday, we're fighting for something. So, you know, I'm just hoping, you know, the way the rules stand right now, they're actually pretty favorable to us, and we don't want any changes because we've been working within the structure of what the rules say right now. So what I'm really hoping for is that we don't get any real big changes, and we just pass them right through, and Friday we're done, and Saturday we're free, and I can come have fun and party with you guys. That's what I'm really looking forward to.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. You know, there's been a lot of, you know, talk about the lawsuit on behalf of the delegates. Some people are not in favor. Some people are in favor. I think the bottom line is our goal is to get our delegates to Tampa, let their voices be heard, and try to make it as fair as humanly possible. So, you know, whether we oppose or advocate this lawsuit, you know, I'm still in favor of freedom and liberty and fair elections. So I think that what you're doing is pivotal to this. I know that the decisions that you guys have to make and the stance that you have to take and to vote your conscience is something that's being fought very hard for. So once again, I thank you again for taking time out of your day. I can't imagine how busy you are, and I really hope to see you at Paul Fest, and I will be searching for you there. Thanks again for coming up here, Cindy.
Thanks for the tickets. I appreciate it. Bye, guys.
Okay, Cindy.
Thank you. Oh, he is in nomination. Whoever is asking me, he's already. We've already nominated Ron-Paul in Nevada. Can you hear me?
We've already nominated him?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yes, that's what I'm saying. We've already nominated.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear.
We need
I'm being rude. I didn't know if people in the room would have questions for you. I'm sorry, I was being selfish with her. But yeah, if you guys have a couple of questions, I'm sure Cindy wouldn't mind taking time to answer any.
That was just one of the questions I saw pop up, so I wanted to answer it. You need 5 states, plurality. Does somebody have a question?
Do you guys have any questions for Cindy? She's on the Rules Committee and also a delegate. Who are you going to love, Cindy? Ron-Paul. Okay, there we go. Here we go. How is the Ron-Paul speaking slot coming?
He's not going to speak. He's not going to speak at the RNC. I'll tell you that for sure. I'm pretty positive he's not going to speak at the RNC, and that's because he wouldn't endorse Mitt Romney. So, but from what I understand, they're going to play a video of his career. Hand-picked stuff, but still, they're not going to allow him to speak, but he will be walking the floor. And I'm okay with that because I think that his not speaking speaks loudly. Look at all the people who are speaking, and then he's going to have hundreds of delegates there, and he's not speaking. So I think even the non-Ron Paul delegates, if you ask for fairness, they're going to understand and see this is not fair. And that might even change their mind when they see that he's not allowed to speak. And when all the Ron Paul delegates are in the audience and on the floor and saying, you know, they're not letting him speak, it's not fair, perhaps that'll change hearts and minds too. So I'm actually okay with it. I don't think it's just a bad thing.
Yeah, I think I'm okay with it too. I don't want him, and I know that he wouldn't compromise any of his principles or his platform, no matter who the presumptive nominee should be. So I'm actually proud of him for not speaking there. I think he's better than that. But I also am proud of all of the delegates. I know that their voices will be heard, and they will speak. They will speak on behalf of Ron Paul and everybody else who supports him. So, is there any other questions for Cindy? Still drying my tears. Okay, I think we're pretty good now. Cindy, like I said, I'll be on the hunt for you at Paul Fest, and good luck to you, and thank you again.
Thank you too. Thanks. I see you soon. Next week.
Take care, Cindy. Okay, we'll go ahead and ban this person. Okay, cool. That was awesome to have her. Cindy's outstanding and very relevant to our movement. I was super happy to have her on here. Is Brooke here? If she's not, I would like to have at least one or two more just come up very quickly. Okay, come on up, Tom.
How you doing?
Hi, I'm gonna call you Walter because that's my favorite name for you. So I hope you don't mind.
I don't mind at all. I kind of like Walter.
I love your attire. I love how you're dressed for this. That's great. Welcome here, and thank you for taking time out of your day to be one of my guests here for this telethon. I know you from Ron Paul Tribune chat, and I've seen you be a fantastic advocate of not only our Second Amendment, but you know, the precious metals and coins that you have. I earlier called you a collector of them, and you were quick to say, no, I'm not a collector. And I don't want to put you in the realm of being a prepper. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you and I have not spoken privately very much, so I'm not too keen on what your stance is with that. But if we could go ahead and start with you introducing yourself and how you came to be involved in this movement and what you're doing to further the cause.
Yeah, give me a sec. Let me turn the light on. I'll probably get better. It's probably see me a little better.
Sure, no problem.
All right. I don't know if this will help. All righty. Okay, well, basically, a little while ago, I mean, I kind of learned and got into Ron Paul. After '08, the economy starts looking pretty rough, and I'm like, you know what, I've got to learn to make a buck, and I started looking into like all the value in people's homes they lost, and I'm like trying to figure out a way I can, you know, make money out of that. So I start looking around on YouTube, and I see certain guys that were able to call the housing bubble and all these problems before it happened, including Ron Paul. So I'm like, this goes against everything that I've learned in school, but somehow they're able to call it. So listen to a lot of Peter Schiff, Tom Woods, Ron Paul. I started learning about what's happening with our currency. And, you know, I figured, well, if this is what's happening to our currency, what do I do about it? So, you know, I learned silver, gold, all that stuff, and there's different ways you can do it. I assume most of you understand what's happening with our currency. It's being totally inflated and devalued. As far as Ron Paul, I mean, he's an Austrian economist, they call him. Basically the old school, pre-World War II type of economics where you produce and save instead of spend borrowed money, and that's the way to wealth. So, I think probably that's, in my opinion, one of the more important issues. If we don't take care of our currency problems now, then all the other problems we have aren't going to matter. Whether gay marriage or, education, none of that's going to matter in a third world country. So this is going to happen to our dollar unless people give up all their entitlements. They take their welfare checks and Social Security checks and bury them in the ground after they cash them. This is going to happen. So I want to talk to you guys about how to, hedge yourself, what you call hedging. You don't make any money, but you don't really lose it. And that's what it's about, purchasing power. You can have more dollars, but if you have dollars that are worth nothing, then what does it matter? In Germany, they were all millionaires, but they were starving. In Zimbabwe, trillionaires. A can of Coke costs $350 billion, if I remember correctly. So what good does that do you? What does a big bank account like a phone number do if you're starving? So, that's really the root, I think, of all our problems. If you have a currency you can just inflate, you can pay for a massive military. You can promise money to people that you don't have. They don't realize that you're taking it out of one pocket and, taking a little bit out and putting it into the other pocket. If you have sound currency, you can't give what you don't have. And that's probably the solution to all our problems. We're going to get there one way or another. Either total collapse, or people realize what's going on and we have to peg our currency to something real. So either way, this is going to happen. I'm not sure how many of y'all, most of y'all, I just want to look at the room, y'all have an understanding of what's going on with our currency to some point? Just yays and nays?
Okay, one somewhat is good enough for me to ask you to go ahead and explain what you think is happening, Tom.
Okay, basically all this quantitative easing, all the stimulus that they're doing for us to save the economy. They're throwing excess money into circulation. So let's go with some crazy numbers. Let's say that you're super rich. There's only $1,000 out in circulation. You have $100. If you print up another $1,000, well, you have 10% of the currency, now 20. That's what's happening in your savings account. It's getting totally eroded away. Prices are going up faster than your interest. You're getting interest on that. A weaker currency is not a good thing. Deflation is a very good thing. Prices going if prices constantly went down for your food, your grocery bill was lower, gas was cheaper, houses were cheaper. Your savings, you didn't even need interest, just your savings. It would increase in value when purchasing power as things got progressed. That's how people retired back in the day. They didn't work till they were 90. They put money aside. That's where the saying "a dollar saved is a dollar earned" came from. So that's basically what's happening. They throw extra money. For another example, let's say that 10 people go to an auction. They have $50 in their pocket. Well, the most that can be spent on an item is $50. If you give $1,000 to these same people, same day, same. Thank you. Same day, same items. Well, if they have more money, that increases the prices dramatically. That's what's happening. Inflation is not rising prices. Inflation is an increase in the money supply, which in turn results in higher prices. So there's a couple ways. I'm a huge advocate of silver. In my opinion, that's the best way to go. I recommend all you guys, whatever little bit you've got, buy a little bit of silver with it. There's different ways to do it. If you want to do like a profit potential and future investments, I'd say bullion rounds are probably your best bet. That's what I prefer. Rounds are in the shape of a coin. A coin is currency issued by a nation. A round is just silver formed in the shape of a coin. You can cut it, melt it. You can do whatever you want with it. You can get it out of the country. They didn't have the federal laws protecting it. It's no different than having jewelry. That's why I prefer rounds. You can go with silver eagles. That's currency, but they still go as bullion. Eagles, peace dollars, Morgans, those are going to carry a premium. They'll always be worth more than their silver value. And then for those of you who just want to get silver for bartering, I would recommend Washington quarters. And the reason for that, Liberty quarters, they get really slick. You can't read the year. A Washington quarter, it's very easy to read. Also, Mercury dimes. I wouldn't say Roosevelt's are okay because they're still silver, but some people have poor eyesight. If you can just look at the dime and tell it's silver, that would be a good bartering tool. So let's say that let's go with price or profit. Purchasing power. A gallon of milk. That's what I'm reading here. Gallon of milk, just regular gallon of milk. Back in the day, say 20 years ago, you could buy a gallon of milk for about a dime, right? Well, today that silver dime is worth about $3.50, give or take. It still buys you a half a gallon of milk or a gallon of milk. Let's say gasoline. You could get about a gallon and a half with a silver quarter. Well, today you can buy a little bit more than that because actually the dollar value has went up. But in terms of silver, all the advancements in technology, fracking, all this advancements in technology, we get more oil for the same work. The price should go down, but it doesn't in dollars, just in silver. For those of you who want to have a tight budget, another way to do it is copper. I recommend people, collect pennies. 1982s, 50% of those are copper. Yeah. But it'll be half of those. All your 82s, put them aside. Put them all together, all 82s together. You'll get something for them, but not as much as the other pennies. Then you got 81 and below. That's a good way to go. They're 95% copper as well. They're all the same weight, same purity. You'll know exactly what you've got there. And then all your wheat pennies, those go for the most. Set all those aside. I guess lead and brass. All metals will really retain their value because the dollar gets destroyed. Anything will. If you got a pair of dirty shoes, that would retain its value better than dollars. Anything would. And with copper, don't go on eBay and get, industrial scrap wire. That's not really, they're different purities, different weights. You're going to get screwed when you get, when you cash in. Copper bullion, unless you're buying a Ron Paul bullion like Shan has. Could you hold that up, please? Yeah. Silver bullion, it's a horrible way to go. This cost me about $3.25. I paid for that much for Ron Paul. I carry it around with me. It's, good luck charm there. But copper is about $3.30 a pound. So you can see how bad you're getting screwed. Don't go with a copper bullion. The reason I say pennies, very easy. 95% copper, same weight, same purity. There's about 150 or 145 pennies a pound. So you got 3 rolls. There you go. You know exactly what you've got. Silver, well, yeah, I'm just reading down there. Gold and silver both way to go, but silver's way, way, way undervalued. The gold ratio, it's usually 16 to 20 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold. Right now, it's about 60 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold. So it's way undervalued. You buy silver now before everybody realizes what's going on, you're going to be in the head, and be ahead of everybody else. Plus that, we've used so much silver. So much silver. It's actually more rare than gold right now. That's, if you know this and collect before everybody else, you'll be much better off. 90% of all that is paid for.
Angry Dude had a question a little while ago. He was asking if there is silver in our vaults. If I'm repeating that question correctly.
As far as doing audits, they haven't let us. We haven't checked in about 30, 40 years. No one really knows that. If it is there, it's not going to probably be what we thought it was. I would say we have some, but not as much as we may think. And nickels too, yeah. So that nickels are a good way to go. A nickel is going to be 75% copper, 25% nickel, So nickel, you need that for surgical equipment, hard drives, cookware. There's a lot of things that you need nickel for. And then copper, there's been no significant amounts of copper in about 100 years. So look at emerging economies. Look at China. Look at India. They're having a higher standard of living. If just 5% of them start using electricity, driving cars, well, what's going to happen to the price of copper? It's going to shoot up. If you have all this collected now, you're going to have money. You'll be able to sell it off later. You're not going to be able to melt them probably, but still, you can go and you can do like you do silver bullion, sell them off for whatever currency takes place of the dollar. If you have a copper sorter, 1982 and older, you can throw them through a sorter. Only half of the 1982s are copper. So keep those separate. 1981 and below will always go for more. If you check out eBay, always go for more.
Tom, do you have a specific website, or do you actually physically go into places to buy your coins?
I got you. If you're going to buy large amounts, I used to go to a site called Northwest Territorial Mint. I haven't bought large amounts in a while, but that's where I used to go. Your cheapest way is going to be just walk into a coin shop. They're always going to have what they call junk coins in a bin. You go in there, you buy that. That's going to be your best way. They got bullion as well. Don't buy rare and numismatics. In the kind of situation we're looking at, it's going to be just the silver value, right? Not everybody out there knows their grades. So if you put all this money into, some rare Morgan dollar, and then it comes time to trade it for food or something, well, you're going to get screwed. They're not going to know what, MS-70 means. They're just going to see this is, 0.7735 ounces of silver. I'll give you this much for it. It's like, like diamonds. I don't know anything about diamonds. Come to me with a diamond saying this is worth this much. I don't know. So I'm not going to give you what you're asking for. And another thing is the pre-1933 gold coins. Gold's going to retain its value very well, but silver has much more profit potential. Palladium, that has a lot of way to go too, but it's not nearly as undervalued as silver. But silver would be the way to go. After that, platinum, copper, then gold. But anyway, as far as pre-1933, everybody's like, well, if you call up a place, they try to sell you this stuff, saying it's exempt from confiscation. Yes, it was Executive Order 6260, I believe, that said that, rare and collectible coins were exempt. However, they never specified what rare and collectible was. So therefore, it's basically, you know what, this ain't it. It could be one of a kind, and if they don't say so, they're taking it. It was illegal to do it back then. It'd be illegal now. They'd still, it doesn't matter. Don't waste your money on that. If you do go with gold, I'd recommend Cougarons. It's the African bullion. They've got the lowest premium. Every time you buy silver, you pay a premium. It costs money to, have it refined, purified. So you want to go with the lowest premium, you can get more silver for the same amount of money.
I'm going to let you guys in the room ask a few more questions for Tom, and then I have one more guest, and we're going to start making way for Brooke. I believe she is Ron Paul girl. So anyways, yeah, if you guys have a couple more questions for Tom, we'll go ahead and let him answer that. Yeah, Libertarian Ann, my fault. And then I'll have my last guest on, and we'll get it moving.
Now, sterling silver is going to be 7.25, so you're going to get scrap value, and plus that'd be very hard. Some people wouldn't recognize it. I'm not sure on that one. I would honestly do bullion, junk coins or bullion. And yes, you can eat silver and gold. Well, I get that one a lot. Let's say anybody with medical conditions, what are you going to do? Let's say you have chickens and I grow tomatoes. I'm going to give you an IOU. Hey, if my tomatoes, if I actually grow tomatoes, I'll pay you back 6 months from now. No. It's a form. As long as you're going to have a civilization, you're going to need a form of currency. That's what it is. That's what it. So you can eat silver and you can eat gold. Let's see what else. Anybody else have any questions? I'll just answer. Well, the beauty of you can't grow silver. That's exactly why. That's what makes it valuable. That's exactly why it has value.
I think we had a lot of great questions in here. You know, I think your knowledge, Tom, is something that isn't discussed enough within this movement. So I think you're also a pivotal person for our cause. So I thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be one of my guests. Are you going to be at Paul Fest?
I'm afraid not. I couldn't make it. I couldn't make it.
Okay, I'm not gonna harass you about it, Tom. I'll save that part for later. But thank you again for what you do and what you know and the knowledge that you continue to spread. And please feel free to stay in here and answer people's questions. I'm sure there's a ton of them for you. So thank you again, Tom.
Yeah, real quick, I want to just say that also I'm always on Ron Paul Tribune, usually in chat room 1. If you have any questions, that's where to find me. I'm either Tom or Walter Mellon. I'll just stick you here and answer your questions to the best of my ability. And I guess I'll see y'all guys there.
Thanks again, Tom. Awesome. Great guest to have. I hope you guys learned something from him. Like he said, he's usually around Ron Paul Tribune chat. So if you guys want to continue to ask him questions in here or in the other chat, feel free to do so. I'm really pleased that I'm way over my amount of time. I think I've been in here 2 hours as opposed to the hour that I was scheduled for. So I hope you guys aren't bored. Looks like we still have 42 people in here, so I'm excited about that. If I could have Shane Lohre come up here. And if somebody could approve his broadcast for me, that would help me out a lot. Shane, quit taking a Matt Larson time. Get your butt up here. Code word.
All right, calm down, crazy.
Hi, Shane.
Hey, how's it going?
So you're being your pleasant self as usual.
I am.
Of course. Thanks for taking time out of your day, Shane, to do this. I know you're extremely busy lately, especially because of what I'm putting you through during the night hours as well as your daytime job. But I thank you again for being on here. If you guys don't know, this is Shane Lohre. He's an incredible person to have on your side when it comes to discussing important topics like your freedom, your rights, your liberty. He's very knowledgeable in that aspect. He's very pro Second Amendment as well. And on top of all of that, he is the producer, my producer for Complete ShanArchy, which is our YouTube channel. He recently appeared in our latest video, Guns Round 2. He could not help himself. He did have issues about making videos on his own, and for this topic in particular, I'm glad he couldn't stay silent. So anyways, Shane, if you don't mind, I'd like to ask you a couple of questions.
Yeah, actually, I do mind. I just wanted to say for all you guys that don't know Shannon personally, if you get a chance to, Get to know her. She's incredible. I almost love her more than this entire movement. She's the type of person that'll call you or text you at about 3 in the morning with some concern or something. She never sleeps, and I'm not kidding you, never sleeps. So get to know her, and I think you guys will be amazed.
Well, thanks for making me cry for my 4th time on here. I feel the same way about you, Shane, and I thank you for being one of the most important people in my life right now. You've made a huge difference. So, anyways, let's dry tears. And I wanted to talk to you about your stance with our Second Amendment. I wanted to ask your feelings about the UN Small Arms Treaty, what kind of effect it would have on us as free citizens, and what we can do to try and stop it.
Well, as far as the treaty is concerned, I think we can all agree it's totally unconstitutional, almost to the point of just being irrelevant. As far as stopping it, call your congressman, call your the people that are out there to help us with these types of things to stop these things. But ultimately, the way that it was presented to us, as far as I understand, is that President Obama was going to take it upon himself to just enact this thing. This is the worst type of thing that we could ever wish upon ourselves. We allow the UN to start controlling small arms in this country, and it's going to be really tough to come back from anything like that.
Okay, this Aaron person is one of my friends on Facebook. He's been bugging me about you, Shane. I believe he lives in Minnesota as well, and he repeatedly asked me if you were at, yes, you, Aaron, if you were at the Rally for the Republic, I believe.
Unfortunately, no. At the time, I did know about Ron Paul, but I was kind of torn. I was in between, like, the life that normal people lead, where they pretend everything's okay and they go to the football game and they don't care. And part of the basically freedom, truth movement, where we're at today. Actually, this has been like a long time thing for me. I've known about stuff like this since I was a little kid. I remember, and I've told Shannon this in private. I remember being 6 years old, crying myself to sleep because I simply didn't understand how money worked. It didn't make any sense to me, even at that age. But no, I was not at the Rally for the Republic. I think about it a lot, kind of like in a regret type manner, wishing that I had had more involvement at that point, wishing that I had known who Ron Paul was. When I was 8 years old back in 1988, I remember hearing about this guy, Ron Paul, not by name, but mainly because there was a guy out there that wanted to legalize drugs. Of course, that's the hot topic. That's what everybody wants to talk about. We need to vote for this guy who wants to legalize drugs. Nobody cares about what else he has to say. And I didn't realize until probably in the last year or two that that was the guy that these other people were talking about. And the more and more that I got to learn about Ron and his stances on things, the more and more I not only agreed with him, but almost to the point where he agreed with me. It was very weird that way, that we shared very similar issues on almost every single topic.
Also, I know, like, from hanging out with you and knowing you personally, that you have a lot of cool toys. I was wondering if you could grab your most favorite toy and possibly show us here, because I know you've added a lot of things to it, and it looks kind of scary to some people, but to Steve was making me blush really bad. Okay. Basically, I want to see your AR-15, and I want everybody else to see it, because I think it's one of the most beautiful weapons that we have.
I do have to say, before I do grab it, I have to appreciate everybody in the room, because your mind went right in the gutter with mine. You say toys, I'm instantly going in the gutter. So.
I'm sorry.
All right. So what do you see? Oh, good. Now we have a guest coming up here.
This is not porn for Ron Paul. Just remember that.
Thanks, Steve. I'll remember that. So what would you like to see?
I just want to look at it and marvel at it. It's beautiful. You take really good care of it. And why do you think that an AR-15, as opposed to, let's say, a shotgun, would be a better weapon of choice if, say, somebody broke into your home? Why would you prefer that over a shotgun?
Well, number one for me, and I can't speak for everybody, but it's compared to a handgun, it's the shortest weapon that I have. If I was to grab a shotgun, I would need much more room in the location I choose to defend myself. But more so, with shotguns, you're going to get, either 3, 5, 6, or possibly 7 rounds out of the thing, depending on what type of magazine tube you have and what you have it set up for and those types of things. As far as my AR-15, I have a minimum of 20 plus 1 round. And anybody that watched the video earlier can easily see that, if it comes down to a point where you're reloading a magazine for an AR-15 or anything for that matter, it takes time. It's very noisy. The last thing I want to worry about is anybody knowing exactly where I am. But, most importantly, why would I choose 3 to 7 rounds when I can choose 20 to 30 or even 40 rounds to defend myself? I would want to have as much firepower as I possibly could. My life is on the line. I don't want to have to worry about anything. I want to simply be able to eliminate any threat that is in front of me.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. Especially when, you're in a position where, if you have a child involved also, you're willing to lay down your life, in order to protect your family. And for people in this movement, and especially you, Shane, you're willing to lay down your life for liberty, plain and simple. And that means defending, not only your family, but your property and all of the rights involved here, your Constitution. It's so underrated nowadays by people outside of this movement. So anyways, I wanted to ask you another question. Actually, I do have one more comment. As far as our Second Amendment goes, I know that you believe this too, but for people in the room, I believe that our Second Amendment is our most important amendment. I believe it was placed to defend all of our other amendments. When it comes down to it, at the end of whatever trouble lies ahead of us, we're going to need our weapons. I'm praying for a peaceful resolution to the problems that we're facing today. But let's say, just in case, let's not give up our weapons so easily. It does not help anything. We will be left helpless. But anyhow, Shane, I want to talk about your family member. From what I understand, he was a guest on Matt Larson's show not too long ago. Dan Kaiser, he's your brother-in-law. If you could explain to everybody who he is, possibly how we could donate to his cause and what he's all about, I would appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Dan is my brother-in-law and a good friend for a long time. I've known him since middle school. Being that our last names are very similar, we ended up getting seated together in a lot of classes when the teacher set you alphabetically, which naturally led to be friends. We really didn't start hanging out until after high school, at which time I got to know him quite a bit better, and we started talking more serious politically and stuff like that. Dan has chosen to run for the House of Representatives out of Aberdeen, South Dakota, which the district that he is in this year, I believe, is District 3. And he ran 4 years ago, and he did okay. He didn't win.
Can you see me?
But,
Can you see me? Say yes.
but
Sorry
he
about that,
you know, oh, I don't care, whatever. Have a blast. He ran 4 years ago. He obviously he didn't win. But I think he got his name recognition and his message out there. He has several YouTube videos where you can listen to him speak. He has one that's about 20 minutes long where he gives a pretty much an overview of everything that he believes as far as the freedom movement is concerned. And at that time, that was the beginnings of the Tea Party, which pretty much everybody in this room can agree to, that is totally shifted in a different direction from basically us at this point. But his views are spot on Ron Paul message type views, and he was the one that started speaking to me first. Well before I even knew Ron Paul, he would talk to me. We would discuss things, and I was amazed at how intelligent he was, as well as just how easily he could lead the discussion to something of actual relevance. If you guys ever get a chance to talk to Dan, you'll find that he's very, very quick-witted, very charismatic. He's the type of person who can make you believe just about anything, and thankfully he's on our side spewing truth. But I really think that he has a good, legitimate shot this time, and he's at the best spot in the world. He's starting from the ground up, and that's the way that we need to reform all of our government. We need to start at the base, and we need to change our local problems and get them turned around. And once we do that, then we can move forward and continue to just eliminate this awful stuff that has been going on for hundreds of years, basically. I mean, the second that they signed all of the documents as far as the Constitution, everything is concerned, freedom was immediately eroded, and step by step, until we got to the point we're at, which is just utterly ridiculously awful. I can't really say much more about how terrible it truly is, and how little others recognize that they really don't have much freedom left. Most people believe that we're the freest, richest country in the whole world. What a contradiction of terms. But as far as Dan, I think that if you guys check him out, you'll really, really like what he has to say, what he stands for. This is a person of incredible integrity and truth, almost to the point where it's hard to get him to joke sometimes. His website is Kaiser for House, not the number 4, the actual word for, kaiserforhouse.com. If you guys want to go over there, you can check out his views. Otherwise, if you want to, on my YouTube channel, I have a couple of videos that I've put up of him, as well as Matt Larson, 10, has put up a couple of videos. He's incredible. He's what we need. And I know I'm a little bit biased because this guy's my buddy and my brother-in-law, but I think 5 minutes into listening to this guy talk, you guys will totally agree with me that he is one of us. He believes the same things we do. He wants ultimate freedom for every single person in this country. And,
If I can interject really quick, Shane, what's even more exciting about what Dan is trying to do as far as changing government from the bottom up here is that he's also an officer of the law. And to know that we have an officer like Dan who respects our Constitution and who will abide by it on our side, I think that's something that's seriously lacking nowadays, and hopefully he can inspire fellow officers to become more aware of the corruption and abuse of power that's going on. I know in our videos I tend to lean a lot towards the gosh darn cops being gang members, but it's really refreshing to know that we have somebody like Dan on our side, and I hope the best for him as far as his campaign goes. And I know that I've personally donated to him, and I'll go ahead and ask you guys if you can spare anything. Please go to his website, kaiserforhouse.com, and give whatever you can, because we do need people like this involved in our movement. Anyhow, so again, to recap, Shane is also the producer for Complete ShanArchy, which is our YouTube channel. And he's obviously very knowledgeable about freedom and liberty here. I just wanted to ask him one more question, and then we'll go ahead and be done. Shane, if you were able to pick one liberty personality to meet, who would that be and why?
You, of course, naturally. No, I'm totally teasing. Actually, you know what? I've thought about that a lot, and Shannon and I, we've talked about this very question a few times, and I thought more about it today, and I came to a conclusion on my way home that I'm gonna be selfish, and I'm gonna say that it needs to be two people. Number one, I don't think he's here anymore. Josh Tolley. I think that if I had a chance to just shake the guy's hand and say thank you for everything that you do on a daily basis, I try and I try and listen to every show that he has as best that I can with my schedule. If you guys don't know, he's on the GCN network. There's an app for it. You can listen from it'd be 9 Central to 11 Central. Every single day of the week, and his shows are just phenomenal. Just unbelievable. Just good, actual, like, there's substance to it, which, all of us who watch the news, we're so sick of the garbage at this point. But as far as the other person, as much as I'm an activist for, guns and, the Second Amendment rights and stuff like that, my biggest regret in life is that I didn't learn more about economics. It is probably at this point one of my biggest passions, and I think that if I could be granted one wish to have like 1 hour, a lunch or whatever, I think I'd do it with Tom Woods. I think that him and I have a very, very similar way of approaching things in the fact that we try and look at the facts, but then we also try and slip in like the joke that kind of eases the tension in the room. Tom, he's famous for saying that if it wasn't for government, we'd all be down in a ditch with dead with no arms and no legs. And that's kind of my approach to life, is basically, let's give everybody the facts, but let's make it fun. Let's have some fun here. And Ron Paul is all about having fun. So I think Tom Woods would be the ultimate. Of course, like I said, maybe I need to talk to Tracy. She's pretty good friends with Josh. So, but I think Josh is an awesome person to just shake his hand.
Hi guys.
Well, that's awesome. Tracy, how are you? Gorgeous.
I am doing well.
Adjust your volume here.
Is it bad? Is it too loud? Is that better? That's good?
Much better, thank you.
All the way across the room.
Shane, if I could just thank you again for being my choice of a guest here. I appreciate everything that you do, not only for our movement, but for me personally. I love you to death. You are definitely my most favorite person right now in my life. So, hopefully we can meet up someday and I could just squeeze your cute little cheeks.
Well, I thank you for that. I will get down from here and let you finish, but I did need to say one thing to you. You have about 5 minutes to get to work, and otherwise you're fired.
I'll get on it, boss. Okay, that's it for me, guys. I went well over my time here, 2.5 hours as opposed to the hour slot that I was given. So I'm assuming Tracy's gonna take over.
A little bit.
Yay! Okay, Tracy, I love you. I love you guys down there. Thank you so much for sticking around and being so nice to all of my guests and me. And don't forget to subscribe to Complete ShanArchy on YouTube. And yeah, go Ron Paul.